Hey there friends, welcome back to the channel. My name's Alex Laux and I wanted to sit down on my couch today and chat a little bit with you about things that I've been seeing with the photography as a hobby, as a profession, and the influence that the social media sphere has had on it, and some of the negative impacts that it has had. So today, as the title of the video says, we're going to be talking about photography, creativity, and you. So let's start with photography. So when it comes to photography, the one thing I want to address is some of the ads that I've been seeing online that claim that if you take this course, you will improve your photography in 7 days. You will land high-paying clients to turn your photography business into a seven-figure job. And here's the problem. Those courses are lying to you. And I'm just gonna come out and say it. They are lying to you. They are scams. There is no single course that will help you improve your photography in a week. There is no single course that will help you land big paying clients. Also, people advertising to be a coach for your photography, that just doesn't work either. Kind of. I'll get to that in a little bit. But first, let's address what it takes to be successful as a photographer. Well, there's 3 elements that are really needed. 2 are critical. 1, we'll get to that last one. So, of course, they are money, time, and social standing, or social clout. And these things are prevalent in almost any industry, any creative industry, if you want to make a serious go of it. And that's just not something that you can just take a course and get. So let's talk first about money. I'm not going to mince words. Photography is expensive. The cameras are expensive, the good lenses are expensive, and if you're like me, you shoot film. Film is not cheap either. And then of course there's a matter of processing. So if you really want to make your career as a photographer, you need financial backing first and foremost. And the reason is that if you want to make yourself stand out as a professional photographer, you need the gear to back that up. And these days, mirrorless cameras, the fast prime lenses, yeah, you can probably save a few bucks by going on the used market, but an f1.4 50mm lens is still costly, even used, even older. And you need that gear to make that impact. I've shot weddings where I've used a mirrorless Sony a6000 body, and I've had guests push me out of the way because I did not look like a professional. Whereas when I shoot with my D750, or before that my D300 or my F5, they look like professional cameras. Now, I am by no means a full-time professional photographer, and I'm okay with that, but I have done a handful of paid gigs where I have to be the professional photographer. And when I carry the big kit and carry myself with that professional work ethic, people list me as a professional photographer. And I'm glad that I have a good job that allows me to have that money available and be able to charge people for my services and deliver a professional product to them. The second element I mentioned is time. You need extra spare time to be able to get out there, work the jobs, practice your craft, and just spend time learning your gear, learning the techniques. And that's not something that you can do in 7 short days. It's just not possible. And I say that for a very good reason, because this one particular ad that says you take my course and you will improve your photography over the course of 7 days, it starts off with an idyllic green landscape and a shack. Technically, I love this photo. It looks fantastic. Could I take a photo like that? No, because I don't live in an area that has a scenery like that. But then it immediately switches to a wonderful, stunning image of the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Well, in 7 days, I can't go from shooting somewhere in the mountains, I'm assuming, somewhere in, say, Appalachia, going to then jet setting myself out to Paris, France, to be able to take pictures of the Eiffel Tower at sunset. You need both time and you need the money to be able to do that sort of travel. And most people don't have that these days. Flying costs a lot more money these days, and you need to be able to have a job that gives you the vacation time to be able to go and take pictures of Paris at sunset. Not everyone has that. So it kind of builds this false narrative around this. And now for that third item, and that comes with social standing or social clout. And this is where I address the ideas of being able to land big name clients in a short 31 days with this course. Celebrities go with their own. The average celebrity isn't going to find their wedding photographer, or a big brand isn't going to find their next brand ambassador or product photographer for their next big thing by scrolling through the average photographers on Instagram. Instead, they're going to look within the circle of people they know, and good chance they're going to go with the son of a famous footballer and pop star before they come find me to shoot, say, Burberry, for example. Because I don't have those social connections. I am not within the sphere of the celebrity. And most of the time you take a look at the people who have landed those jobs, they know people, or they know people who can bring them into that circle. And it's true of any creative. It's true of landing big Hollywood roles. It's true about playing big gigs before major bands, and it is certainly true of photography. Fashion, for example, weddings, it's just, if you don't have it, it is very hard to get, and you need to work your way up. Now, to get ahead in photography, you don't need that third element. You don't need that social clout. If you have time and you have the financial backings to take on a full-time professional photography job, you can have a really good go at it and make a really big name for yourself as a result. So what about creativity? Well, the problem is that there are a lot of very creative people out there in the photography community as a whole. And I love being able to see what everyone else does and their own unique takes. The problem I'm seeing is that a lot more people are trying to simply duplicate what other people are doing. They're shooting what everyone else is shooting. They're editing the way everyone else is editing. And the simple matter is that it is taking away from creativity as a whole within the larger sphere of photography. Everyone wants to edit like their favorite celebrity photographer. Everyone wants to use the same gear, shoot the same subject matter, edit it the same way. They want dark, moody, wide-angle street photography shots, which, you know what, that's not really bad, but when everyone starts doing it the same way and composing it the same way, it starts to look generic. And then, of course, I have to address the elephant in the room, that is this plagiarism software out there, or generative AI, and the image creation process that it brings. I think it is truly terrifying what it can do to photographers as a whole, because oftentimes a lot of people will start feeling defeated because they think they can just be replaced by someone sitting at a keyboard, because there's a lot of people who put in a lot of time and money and effort to build up their own brand, their own style of photography, and then all of a sudden to have it threatened by some piece of software that essentially steals whatever is publicly available on the internet. And I think that is dealing a huge blow to overall creativity. And Also the idea of trending, going viral, which I hate the term, but we'll just use it anyways. The idea that you need to follow these trends in order to get your photography noticed. You end up playing to the algorithm rather than trying to develop your own voice within your creative sphere. And there's a couple of things that I honestly believe are fueling that. Again, playing to the algorithm. Everyone wants to be a celebrity. Everyone wants to be seen by the right people, hoping that they will be noticed. They will be the next big thing, the next big name within the photography sphere, instead of simply being happy with their own personal growth. They're chasing trends rather than taking inspiration from them. I'll give you an example. My good friend Matt Marash is an absolutely fabulous photographer, and he's the one who sort of shared the idea of shooting Ilford HP5 in large format, shooting it at ASA 200 and developing it in PyroCat HD. And you know what? I took it and I went, wow, I really like what I see. I'm going to start doing that. And yeah, I went to Hocking Hills with Matt. We spent a morning photographing some of his favorite spots. And yes, I had my crown graphic, I had sheets of HP5, and I shot them at 200. I used a spot meter, and I developed it in PyroCat HD. But I'm not a landscape photographer. I'm not drawn to that subject matter. I'm very much, I love urban spaces, I love architecture. So I took inspiration from that particular technique and I applied it to my own work, and I got stunning results. And I was so proud of them. I did an entire project with that, put it in a book and sent it to Matt. And he loved it. And I love that he doesn't expect people to do it the exact same way that he does, that he respects that people will take inspiration from his work and his techniques and what he teaches and puts them into their own creative endeavor. So if you're going to take away one thing, the best way to be creative today is to take inspiration from trends, find what you love about them, and make them work within your own style of photography. Don't constantly be changing up your brand. So what does this all have to do with you? Well, let's start with photography. If you do want to have a go at being a professional photographer and making it an income stream for yourself, I don't recommend taking those silly instant gratification courses that will help you land big name clients in 31 days or improve your photography in 7 days. These things take time, they take money. So what I do recommend doing is, if you're not 100% sure of your skills as a photographer, find a local continuing education course. Find one at a local community college. I work at Sheridan College and I know that they have absolutely fabulous instructors within the continuing education school that will definitely help you with improve your photography. Or go back to school, take an entire college course on photography so that you can have that piece of paper to say, hey, yes, no, I graduated with this piece of paper, I know what I'm doing. Now, if you already feel your photography is up to snuff and you want to have a go of running it as a proper business, but you've never run a business before, take a Con Ed course about running a business, running a small business. And then do it right. Make sure you have the proper registration, you have all the tax forms and license numbers filled out. Make sure you have a lawyer and an accountant and the appropriate software to be able to run this properly. And then be a good photographer. Don't be a trendy one who parties or is ready to jet set everywhere. Start small and let yourself learn. I have made a constant point of improving my photography over the years, and I can really thank a couple of other things that I have done. First of them is being an urban explorer, exploring abandoned buildings. And the first time I went into the Richard L. Hearn thermal generating station in Toronto, my gear sucked. My understanding of photography sucked. and my images said that. And it took 5 years of hard practice and saving money to buy better equipment, to learn my kit, to learn exposure, to learn better composition, to improve images from what I got at the beginning to what I got 5 years later. I also did a lot of photography through the Presbyterian Young People Society. And again, my portrait work, when I started using a good DSLR with flash, sucked. And I started to use shallower depth of field and flash diffusion, and I got better results as a whole. When I photograph weddings, I make sure I bring good kit. I dress myself appropriately, and I hold myself to a certain level of professionalism. I don't party with the guests. I do my work the way I see it, and I don't change for my client. My client hires me because of my body of work that I've done over the course of several years. From the early weddings I've shot to my most recent ones, I can see a clear improvement in my style and my understanding and focusing on my own personal brand of photography. This doesn't happen overnight, it doesn't happen in a week, and it doesn't happen in a month. And when it comes to consuming creative content, there's nothing wrong with that. I know that if I'm feeling in a creative rut, I love watching other people's YouTube videos about what they're doing, how they're using their camera gear. I love chatting on Facebook groups such as Negative Positives, the Toronto Film Shooters Meetup, and the Joy of Photography groups are my main sources of this creative inspiration. And of course, the Frugal Film Project, can't leave that group alone, because it shows me that other people can be in the same position. So there's nothing wrong with consuming creative content, especially if you're feeling a little low in the creative field watching YouTube videos. But it's important not to start completely changing your brand to fit what other people are doing. Instead, take inspiration from them and use them within your own sphere. Be your own photographer first. Take inspiration from other creatives and make sure to shout them out. Like I said, Matt Marash has been a huge inspiration. My wife is a huge inspiration, and there are a ton of photographers out there like James Lee, John Meadows, Bill Smith, Chrissy Wu, Jess Hobbs, Molly Kate, Mike Gutterman, Jim Graves, Dave Mahaly, the old camera guy. It's just, I've surrounded myself with these wonderful people who inspire me, and I hope that I can help inspire them also. And try to avoid changing your entire style of photography based on what's the latest trend. Don't chase trends, be inspired by them instead. You'll be a healthier photographer overall. Well, friends, I know this has been a little bit different from my usual video fare, but it's something that I've been sitting on for a while and really needed to get off my chest. Again, to recap, photography isn't easy. There's no quick fix. It takes time, money, patience. So if you take away one thing, if you're gonna go pro, do it right. If you wanna leave it as a hobby, leave it as a hobby. There's no one forcing you to turn photography into an income stream or a side hustle or a job. I love it because I can pick and choose. I have the ability to do that. Not everyone does. In the end, remember, time, money, patience. Don't chase trends. Take inspiration from them. Surround yourself with people who inspire you. Have a messy Instagram feed. And as always, get out there, stay safe. Take cool images. Shoot for yourself, unless someone's paying you. And a good chance they want you to shoot what you normally do anyways. Take care all.